Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 ways to beat every death game in Squid Game. The Netflix show Squid Game has taken many fans since its introduction. The Korean drama is based on children's games popular in Korea, but with a twist. When the participants lose in these games, they are not just eliminated, they are shot and killed. The whole idea of these games is to entertain the bored and rich clients of the creator. So today we're going to be talking about how to beat death in these games. Stick around until number 1 as you're not going to want to miss out on this captivating video of the unknown cheats on the show, and you may want to grab a seat for this coverage. Before we go any further, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content. Let's carry on. Number 10. Red Light, Green Light. The first game of the show is the famous kids game Red Light, Green Light, and the basic idea of selecting this game into the tournament seems to be the fact that it can easily and massively eliminate a lot of people in the game. The basic premise of the game is that the competitors reach to the person singing, in this case, a giant animatronic robot girl, before the time runs out. For the show, this is just 5 minutes. The trick here is that you cannot be caught moving when the robot turns to look at you, this being the first game introduced on the show, and so no one had any idea what elimination meant. Here, it means getting shot and killed, so there was a good chance of many people dying, as it evidently happens that more than half of the 456 participants are shot dead. So, how do you escape this death game? Number 9. Avoid death in Red Light, Green Light. We have some ways that you can avoid death in this first game of the show. The first one is, if you notice, Kang Se-byuk, or number 67, she stays right behind Jang Taek-soo, or number 101, and moves through the game, eventually reaching the end and surviving. This is a good way to avoid death, provided the person in front of you is also good and doesn't get shot and killed. And of course, you need to be small enough to be able to hide behind the person without catching the robot's eye. Since Se-byuk is small, she could do this easily. A taller person, though, wouldn't be able to. This leads us to the second method, and that is to stay close to Il-nam. But that is far tougher than you think, given that the game only lasts for 5 minutes. It's not easy to spot him in such a frenzied commotion, as it is later revealed that Il-nam is the creator of the tournament. He cannot be killed, or simply put, the robot is programmed not to mark him. So that means anyone close to him at that point of time is also safe, as their movement can put him at risk and the machine will skip this. Number 8. Honeycomb Shape Cutting. The second game of the show is Honeycomb Shape Cutting. This is probably the most boring of all the games, but given that it follows the gory Red Light, Green Light, it's a bit of a blessing for the sore eyes. In this game, each participant is shown 4 shapes and asked to pick one. The consequences of their choices, though, are revealed only when the game starts. These shapes are circle, triangle, star, and umbrella. So the task is to cut these chosen shapes indented in the honeycomb, with nothing but a needle at one's disposal. Of course, this game also has a time limit, in this case 12 minutes. If anyone cracks or breaks the shape, he or she is eliminated. Number 7. Avoid death in Honeycomb. Now, as you've already seen, most of those who have chosen the umbrella end up being eliminated. So the first way to avoid death in this game is to never choose the umbrella. Secondly, choose the simpler shapes, as it is way easier to beat the game that way. Probably the easiest is the star, as it's got a lesser edge-to-edge ratio, making it the fastest to chip out the shape from the honeycomb. Next is the triangle, but the longer edges are making it riskier to chipping or breaking, hence it's a bit more time consuming. Circle is way tougher with rounded edges, but a bit of cheating like the one used by Deok-soo to use a smuggled lighter to burn the edges might just save you. And lastly, for the umbrella, nothing but improvisations like the one Gi-hun did, and he did it by licking through the honeycomb to melt it. And that can save you. Nevertheless, it's still way too risky, and you need to be the lead of the show to pull it off. Number 6. Tug of War. The third game on the show is the traditional Tug of War. After the slow and boring second game, this one again is an interesting and maximum elimination game. Now, this is the only game at the tournament where an actual Olympic sport is showcased, and to this day, it is played almost everywhere around the globe and is governed by the universal rules laid down as in any sport. Simple rules of the game are that 2 teams of equal number of players compete with each other to pull the opposite team over the center line drawn to win the game. Usually there is no time limit unless there is a stalemate. On such occasions, the game is reset, but in Squid Games, this game also has its own twist. While the basic rules remain the same, the match actually happens on a bridge, and the center line is the gap in the bridge. Hence, whoever loses will fall to their death. Number 5. Avoid death in tug of war. So how do you escape this time? Well, the easiest way is to be on the team with Il Nam, as the old man's got many tricks up his sleeve. Considering that he is selected on those games he is good, he also has a vast library of watching these games for a decade now. But now that he's gone, that idea most probably goes out the window, unless another keen observer enters the game like him. In the meantime, you can avoid death in this game by simply being on the team with the strongest players, and also draw on your own experience of playing this game as a kid. Number 4. Marble games. The 4th round of the show, Marble Game, like the second one, is also relatively boring, but this is the first game where the human element kicks in. Till now, participants competed only for survival. But with the very few left to play this round, emotions take grip at certain levels. Well, the premise of the round is that players are paired up against each other and given a set of marbles. The organizer then tells them to play any game with it as long as the result ends in them acquiring all the marbles of the team member. And they have 30 minutes to win with all the marbles from their opponent. So, as we see, all the teams play different games, while some play memory games, some bet, while others just chess the opponent out of their marbles. In short, this is the game with the maximum number of possibilities out of all the games. Number 3. Avoid death in marble games. As we said, the element of humanity is kicked in from this round. Your best bet of winning this round is having a strong emotional quotient. Other than that, it would also help if you are quick enough to choose some game which you are good at so that your chances of winning are enhanced. Thirdly, this is also a rare chance. If the number of players are odd, it might also be good to not be picked by any player, so that you can get by to the next round, just like what happened with Me Niao. Number 2. Glass Bridge. The 5th game of the show is the Glass Bridge Crossing. There are 18 panels which a competitor has to cross to win. Sounds easy, right? Well, the trick here is that each panel is made up of either tempered glass or normal glass. If one steps on the latter, they are immediately sent crashing through and fall to their death. Not just that, one also has to cross the panels to the other side, and they have to do it in a total of 16 minutes. All these make the game the trickiest of the lot, and in fact, not a game of skill or strength. So how do you make it out of this one? Well, frankly speaking, even we don't know. With the level of complexity of this game, the best way to negotiate would be to not start first. The later you start, the more chances you have of survival, but you will also have to factor in the time limit. So the next best thing is to use as many tricks as possible, just like the glass expert did. You can even try walking on the metal tracks holding the glass, and since no other explicit rules are laid down, you won't know if you can use these tricks unless you actually use them. Number 1. Squid Game. Now, the last game is the titular Squid Game, a very popular children's game in Korea. This game was played by almost every kid in the 70s and 80s in Korea. This is a 2-person game, and also the final game where only 2 of the leads are left. The basic rules of this game are that each player picks either offense or defense. The defending player must be able to stop the attacking player from reaching the head of the squid. And if any player is able to stop the other, or is able to throw them out, they will win. The twist in this game, as was the case with the others, is that each player is armed with a steak knife. Now, escaping elimination in this game is down to old school tricks and simply being ruthless. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and we'll see you next time.